Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Chelsea, and in today's video I've got the newest guest with me, our sweet baby girl, and I'm going to be telling you about my positive birth story. So baby girl is just over 2 weeks old, and my birth and labour, it was really positive. It was painful but positive. So if you want to hear how it went, get a cup of tea, get some biscuits ready, and I will let you know how I brought this beautiful angel into the world. I just fed her, but she loves her food, so I may have to stop to feed her, but hopefully not. So I actually went into early labour, so the labour they don't count, on Sunday, like 2 weeks and a bit ago. And the Saturday, actually, I was basically like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm just so over it. I had my bloody show, so if you're pregnant or you're into pregnancy and stuff, you'll know what that is. So I had my bloody show on the Saturday. It was coming in bits and bobs, and I was having loads of Braxton Hicks. So Braxton Hicks, basically tightenings, but I didn't have them throughout my pregnancy. So like, people say they were having Braxton Hicks throughout the whole pregnancy. I didn't have any at all until like a week and a half before I actually, a week and a half before I actually gave birth. But the Saturday I was having them like crazy. Like, my husband and I went out for a drive, and oh my gosh, I'm just getting emotional remembering. We went out for a drive and they were so intense, like very intense. It was a nice day, hot day. I was extremely miserable. So it was like, let's go out for a drive. So we went out, and during that car drive, he was like, are you sure you're not in labour? Are you sure you're not in labour? And I'm like, no, because they're not painful, but they're just coming like thick and fast. Anyways, we decided to go to his mum's house, and we just sat and relaxed in the garden that Saturday evening for a bit. And throughout this, I was still having my bloody show, but my mum, like, there's so many different, everyone's pregnancy is different. So when you watch this video, I don't want you to base your story on what I've been through, because everyone is so different. Every pregnancy, every labour, every delivery is different, because our bodies are all different. But my mum was like, she had her bloody show when I came a week later. And of course, like, when you're at the end of the journey, or you think you're nearing the end, you start Googling and looking like, does bloody show mean that the labour is about to start? And some women were like, I didn't give birth until a week later, 2 weeks later. And in my case, I went into labour like a couple hours later. But my mum said that she had hers, and I didn't come until like a week later. But thank God I went into labour a couple of hours later. So that was on a Saturday morning. And then, so we went home on Saturday evening and just chilled out. 12 o'clock at midnight on Sunday, or is it Saturday? I don't know. Whatever, 12 a.m. I woke up with very intense pains. And I'm like, so I woke my husband up. I'm like, get the TENS machine. So get the TENS machine. Oh, it's really so emotional. Get the TENS machine, and we set it up, and I'm having contractions. So I didn't time them. I was just using the TENS machine. And if you don't know what the TENS machine is, I did mention it in one of my videos, which I'll link here, and it was so good. I cannot recommend it enough. Like, it really helped me to endure the early stages of labour at home and throughout labour. I did end up using it until I was like 7 centimetres, and I'll explain why as I go on. So we used the TENS machine, and we had it on, and when it came to like 8 a.m. in the morning, I was up all night having contractions, and I was using the Freya app to time them. So it's the one that the Positive Birth company recommend. So I was using that, and it's really good. The only thing is, I would say, like, is that when you're using it and you're timing them, and it tells you like you're in active labour, and then your contractions, like, they're not consistent, so then it says you're not in active labour, that can be really disheartening. And if you've used the app, you'll know. So basically it times the contractions for you, and then once the contractions start, you press the button. Once it stops, you press it, and then it basically keeps a log of the contractions and the time between them, like how long they last and stuff like that. So obviously, as it's keeping a log, it's like you're in active labor, but then sometimes my contractions weren't that frequent, so then it would say you're not in active labor, and I was like, ugh. Anyways, Sunday at 8 a.m. I was exhausted, obviously after not sleeping all night. So I said to my husband, I don't think like I'm in labor yet, or active labor, which is 4 centimeters, but please, like, I need something. So I called the maternity helpline, and I was like crying, saying like I've been having contractions. So I've been having contractions since like midnight last night, haven't slept, I'm so exhausted. So she was like, why don't you come in and we'll examine you, and then we'll see if we can help you. So I went in and I was examined, and I was only 1 centimeter dilated. Woohoo! But to be honest, I was only 1 centimeter dilated. However, the care that I had made all the difference. So the person who examined me was amazing. She was lovely. Like, I can't speak good enough about my treatment and my midwives that I had throughout this whole experience. So she examined me, and she was like, you're what? She didn't say you're only. She said you're 1 centimeter, and however your cervix is stretched. It's, what did she say? Did she say it's soft? But obviously I had the bloody show, and the bloody show means that everything is like ripening and softening. So she said your cervix, she explained to me like it was like soft and it had come down, and she gave me some Oromorph. And I think that's the reason why I was sick. It's basically morphine, but I hadn't obviously ate anything, and no, I had ate on the Sunday. I had been having snacks, but nothing like substantial. I think some grapes or something throughout the day or the night time whilst I was contracting. And then when I got to the hospital, she gave me some Oromorph. So she said, take this, and I'll see you later. Like, things are progressing, I'll see you later when I come back from my shift. So her words and the words that she used were actually what kept me going. So I took the Oromorph, and then I went home, and I was able to get some sleep in between the contractions, and we continued at home with the TENS machine. But as soon as I had the Oromorph, I left the hospital. I went out to the car park, to my husband's car, because he wasn't allowed to come in, and the heavens of vomit opened. I was throwing up violently, and from that throw up, I was throwing up until I gave birth on Tuesday morning. So from Sunday about 10 till Tuesday about 4 o'clock, I did not eat. Well, I did try to eat, but nothing stayed in, nothing I ate. So I hadn't ate. Was that like 36 hours? A very long time. So I was vomiting. Anyways, I vomited when we got home, and I had some sleep. We both had some sleep because my husband hadn't slept, because he's obviously been supporting me. So we both had some sleep, and the Oromorph really did help to take the edge off of things. But anything is, after that I couldn't eat or drink anything because I was just vomiting non-stop. My mum said that with the Oromorph she should have given me some anti-sickness, but I don't know, maybe she wasn't thinking about that or whatever. Anyways, so we laboured throughout the night. The rest of the day I was vomiting like mad. Like, when I say, like, I tried to eat strawberries, just little snacks, drink, keep hydrated, but nothing was staying. I was just, when I say vomiting, it's that vomit where you can't breathe, like it's just coming out, like it's just crazy. But thank God for my husband. I couldn't have done it without him. It was very intense, but I didn't want to go back to the hospital until I was sure that I was in established labour, which is 4 centimetres, because I don't want to go back there and then they sent me home. So I laboured at home just with the TENS machine from Sunday until Monday evening, just with the TENS, no food, little sips of water, and using the Freya app, and with my husband's support, just breathing and just staying positive, giving me positive affirmations. And it was hard. I'm going to tell you, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. That part, like staying at home, until Monday at 5 p.m. because like you don't want to go in, because I don't want to be in the hospital for ages. And also I knew that if I went in and they checked me and I wasn't 4 centimeters, that my husband would not be allowed to come in with me. So I was like, we just toughed it out at home, did it together, breathed, had relaxing, the Freya app plays really relaxing music and it gives you positive affirmations, and once you get lost in that, it helps you to relax. And I just breathed through the pain. I was listening to what the lady was saying, and my husband was like rubbing my back and just I wish I actually recorded, but in the moment I wasn't thinking. I was just trying to get through the pain, but I really wanted to capture some moments of labour, but I'm not even going to say next time. But I have this video to remind me, and also the memories of it all in my head and I need to sort of write it down in her book. But anyway, so we stayed at home until Monday at 5 p.m. and I was still timing my contractions, and I've been having like really long, like over a minute, with hardly any break in between. But the problem is that they have this textbook, it has to be 3 contractions every 10 minutes lasting up to a minute long, and sometimes I was having that, sometimes I was having shorter ones, sometimes I was having longer ones without any break in between, and it was so intense. So I called at like 4 o'clock. I called at like 4 o'clock and I was like I think like I'm in active labour now, but I don't want to come in case I'm not. So she said, the lady on the phone was like, that's okay, like she was really encouraging. She said, why don't you do another hour at home, and then if the pain is unbearable then come in and we'll see what we can do for you. So another hour seems like the longest. Are you hungry? Another hour seemed like the longest thing ever. However, I was willing to do that because I didn't want to go in and be sent home, or I didn't want to go in and be admitted without Joel. Like I needed to be 4 centimeters to be in there. So we did another hour and then it was just unbearable. So we went in and I was 4 centimeters. Yay! Yay! Mommy was 4 centimeters. She's looking at me like, you're crazy. Mommy was 4 centimeters. Ooh, are you ready do you want to play? Sorry guys. Mommy was 4 centimeters. So yeah, I went in and I was able to be admitted because I was 4 centimeters. So my husband came in with all the bags of stuff, and I met my 2 midwives who were going to be with me, and they were so lovely. They made the experience so great. I had a student midwife and then another midwife, and let me tell you, I was blessed to have great midwives, great people helping us throughout. Like I never felt like they were trying to make me do things I didn't want to do. Like it felt like our experience, and they were just there to sort of guide us along. When I did get when I went in and they checked me and they said I was 4 centimeters, I did have a scan, because the person who examined me was like, oh, the baby's head, she said the baby's head wasn't descending or something like that. I don't know what she was saying. So I had a scan. It was so funny. I had a scan right there and then, and the baby was in the right position. I guess this person just, like, even the doctors who came to do the scan, she was like, are you sure? And they were like, yes. So I had that as well. I forgot that I had the scan. She was in the right place to be delivered. So yeah, then once I was admitted, and the midwives who were going to be delivering the baby or staying with me until their shift was finished, they introduced themselves, and then they offered me gas and air, which I tried but didn't work because I was feeling sick. So that made me feel sick. Obviously I hadn't ate. We are now Monday around 5:45. No, actually around 6:30. Monday 6:30. I still hadn't ate. So the gas and air made me feel sick. So I still had my TENS machine attached. So I was using my TENS machine to just bare with the contractions. I was so happy when I saw my husband walk in the door so he could hold my hand and just be there with me and just encourage me. So my preference was to get in the pool if possible and have a water bath, but in Peterborough Hospital there's only one pool available, and it was available that day. So once they said that I could get into the pool or go into the room with the pool, but at that time, right, the baby's heart rate was like a bit up. So they said they did an examination, and then they said they would wait another, I think, half an hour and examine me again, like put me on the monitor. She's trying to box me in my neck. Yeah, and then put me back on the monitor, and then if the baby's heart rate was good, then they would transfer me to that room. But obviously you can't get into the pool if everything's not right, because then you'll have to be rushed out, and it just makes the experience not as it should be. So I was fine with that. They put me on the monitor and everything was fine with the baby. So yeah, they said whenever I'm ready to get in the pool I can get in. And I didn't, one thing that I didn't want to do was labour on the bed, and I was so exhausted. So yeah, I ended up labouring on the bed. I was like, I'll go on the pool in an hour just to get things. No, I just didn't have the energy to go on any pool. The only energy I had was to use the TENS machine and listen to my husband and the midwives. So I laboured on the bed for, I don't know, probably into the night, and around 9 o'clock when I had my next examination, I was 6 centimetres. So I was labouring all this time just using the TENS machine. I hadn't had any pain relief by then. And then, yeah, so about an hour later, so I was 6 centimetres at 9 o'clock. About an hour later, I said that I wanted to get into the pool. So they got the pool ready, and my gosh, I got in and the relief was instantaneous. Like, it was just amazing. Just getting into the warm water, it was incredible. I just got in my bra. Obviously I wasn't wearing underwear by this. I didn't even care. At this point I was like, I don't care who sees me. Like, these women see women every day. Obviously it was just me and them and my husband. So I got into the pool and I was breathing. Obviously you can't use a TENS machine in the pool, so at this point the TENS machine was off. So I was 6 centimetres, got into the pool using just breathing, and the room with the pool has music in it, so just relaxing music. So that was on, and my husband was just, you know, telling me I can do it. I remember I got to a point where I was in the pool, I was really, really tired, exhausted, because remember I hadn't slept since the Sunday, and we're now on Tuesday, early hours of Tuesday. Oh no, we weren't yet. It was late Monday evening, so we're coming up to like 9 o'clock, just past 9 o'clock. And he was like, you can do it. I'm like, stop saying I can't. And the midwife was like, you can. I was like, I can't, I'm just so tired. They were like, anytime you need pain relief, just let us know. So I think I stayed into the pool for like an hour and a half. My husband said he tried to keep me in for as long as possible because he knew that each contraction that passed, which I told him, is bringing us closer to meet the baby. So even though in those moments when I'm having a contraction I think I can't do it, I can. Every contraction is bringing us closer, and the more he encourages me, the more support the midwife gives me, I'm getting closer to that goal. But yeah, I think I must have stayed in for an hour and a half, and then I was getting tired, very agitated. I didn't want anyone to touch me. So I was like, I need the pethidine, and the pethidine is an injection, but they don't give it too close to when the baby's going to be born because it can make the baby sleepy, and then you would have to have an intervention because obviously the baby is not going to be able to come out as they should if they're like sleepy and whatever. So I decided to have the pethidine then, and apparently, I'm saying apparently because I don't feel like I got any relief, but apparently I was sleeping or dozing off in between contractions. And so I had the pethidine, which was an injection into my bottom. And let me tell you, I don't like injections, I don't like any of that stuff, But at this point I was so exhausted, I had no energy, I hadn't ate, and I'd also been vomiting. Even though I hadn't ate anything, I'd been vomiting throughout that whole night. When I was on the bed, I was vomiting. It's a good thing I stayed on the bed, to be honest, because imagine vomiting in the pool. That's just gross. I was vomiting, like vomit where like I can't breathe. But the midwives held the sick bowl, and it was just, yeah, really nice for them to do that. And once I had the pethidine, you can't be in the pool because it makes you sleepy, and obviously you can't be sleeping in a pool. It's dangerous. And also, if there's an emergency and you're sleepy, you can't move as hastily as you would. Well, the team can't move you hastily as they would, or deal with you as quick as they can if you're on the bed. So I had the pethidine, I went back onto the bed, and I just laid there, and I had the pethidine. I also had anti-sickness. I had 2 injections at once. Who am I? I hate injections, but I had them both, and it took the edge off. I was like, is this gonna stop me feeling the pain? They're like, it takes the edge off, but I don't know. As I said, I felt like it didn't take the edge off, but apparently it did. So yeah, so I continued to labour, and then they said, why don't you try the gas and air now, because you've had the anti-sickness, so that might help you to stop feeling sick when you do use the gas and air. So I started to use the gas and air, and apparently it was helping. Everything was just a blur at this point. So by this time it was probably like coming up to 11 o'clock, and I laboured, I don't know, with the pethidine injection, maybe for like 2 hours. I don't know, I lost track of time. As I said, everything was just a blur. And then I don't know what time it was, but at a particular time I started feeling the urge to push. Like my contractions were coming really quickly, and yeah, I just felt like, yeah, the urge to push, but I wasn't, it was like a natural urge to push sort of thing. So they were like, we normally examine you every 4 hours. So my last examination would have been, I don't know when my last examination was, but it had been less than 4 hours. But because I was feeling this urge, they said, let us examine you. So I was 8 centimeters then, and my water still hadn't broken, by the way. I was 8 centimeters. This was probably about, I can't remember the time, but maybe about 2 o'clock perhaps. So still another 2 centimeters to go. I was already feeling the urge to push, and my contractions were like ramping up like crazy. By this time I think the pethidine had worn off, I don't know. And this is obviously the down stage of labour, where things pick up and contractions are coming quicker. So I knew that I was getting close to meet the baby, and I was exhausted but knew I was nearing the end. And I was sick again, and I think the midwife had left the room to do something, and my waters broke. Like I felt them coming out. So my waters broke when I was 8 centimeters, maybe 9, I don't know, but just before I gave birth. They didn't break before. And then the contractions really were like coming crazy, and then the the urge to push was like mad crazy. So my pushing was 28 minutes. So it took me 28 minutes to get her out of there, and well, via the pushing stage, not altogether. And I had a cut to the side, so I didn't have a full episiotomy, but I had a cut to the side because they said, we think you're going to tear anyway, so if you let us make this small cut, then you won't, and it'll help her head to come out. So I said, go ahead. They did local anesthetic, another injection again, which I was totally against injections because I'm just scared of needles. But let me tell you, when it comes to the situation, my advice would be to be as flexible as possible. Rigidity in labour and these situations does not work. It doesn't help you or anyone involved. So I was trying to be as flexible as possible. It's like anything to get this baby out, not in a I don't care what you do to my body way, but I'm exhausted kind of way, you know. So I had the small cut, put the local anesthetic in, and then once they did that, yeah, the head was out. I felt her head. She had lots of hair, as you can see, she's got lots of hair, and yeah, like her head was coming out. The head coming out was the most intense thing I have ever experienced. Like, my eyes were like wide open, like as I was doing that, right, I was thinking, wow, women are incredible. Like, I can't believe all the women before me, like my mum has done this, given birth to me, like the head coming out. I just couldn't believe it. Like, those are the thoughts I was thinking. But I was also thinking, this is intense. And the midwives were like, push into your bottom. Like, I am. They're like, push into your bottom. Like, I am pushing into my bottom. It felt like like, act like you're doing a massive poo. And I'm like, I am. I also pooed loads. I know I pooed because I just know it. But they're like, it's fine. Don't worry about it. But yeah, as I said, you just go with the flow, and whatever happens, happens. So eventually her head was out. Once her head was out, the head coming out was the most intense thing, as I said, I've ever done. But once her head was out, the rest of the body came out, and she was here. And I cut the cord, which was really cool. I'll include a video here, I think, me cutting the cord. And then yeah, that's my birth story. I had to have stitches after, so I had to have my legs up in stirrups, which was not the stitches were like the least fun part of the whole experience. Like, whilst they were doing the stitching, she was latched onto my breast feeding. Like, she latched on straight away and fed for 45 minutes. And people say, oh, once the baby's latched on, you're like in love and looking at the baby. But no, the stitches just took forever. I had a 2nd-degree tear, so I had the cut, and then I also had a tear somewhere else, so I had to have that repaired as well. But it's all healed up fine and nicely, so that wasn't an issue. And then that was it. That's the birth story of our little girl. I think the whole experience was really positive, and that was down to the people that I had, the support that I had, and every person throughout the early labour, established labour, and the baby being born were very intentional. I felt they were very intentional with what they said and how they treated me. It was a really incredible experience, and our baby girl is here, safe and healthy, and I was also safe and healthy throughout the whole experience. And yeah, that's it. If you made it to the end, well done to you. We won't be showing baby's face online, like I said, I think in my last video, but I will still be here to share my experiences. I think the next video I will do is like 24 hours after giving birth and tell you what happened after we brought her home and stuff like that. But yeah, that's it. It's been a crazy experience. Wow, like very challenging. But when I look at her and she does her little smirks and smiles, I just feel so blessed, and I'm so happy that she's healthy. It's definitely life-changing. As you can see, I'm in my pajamas. Very exhausting. Breastfeeding is difficult, so I salute all the mums out there who are doing it now. You are incredible, and even if you haven't breastfed, just looking after a human is hard work, but well done to you. You're doing a great job. But yeah, this is half an hour long, but I had to tell the story in its entirety. My throat is so dry. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.